Hi, I'm Gary and welcome to my shop. In this video I'm going to show you how I made this storage accessory for my scroll saw blades, and it fits in these tubes that I got on Amazon that are 5/8 of an inch and put magnets on the back so it sticks to the side of my scroll saw. But going through this process, there was a few times when my video card failed me, so I had to get a new one. So there was a few steps I missed, but I think you can get the gist of this anyway, because it's a pretty simple setup here, an accessory, just involving a piece of 2x4 and cutting an angled piece to glue onto it. And it works out pretty good, so stay tuned and I'll show you how to do this. For putting these tubes on here for holding my blades, I need to figure out what this angle is on my saw, on the side of my saw here. I want to try and make these tubes stand straight up. So I need to figure out that angle, and it's really hard to get in there and measure anything. So what I did is I took my angle gauge here, and this manages to slip just under my saw there. I snug this up a little bit. I can't get up there flat on that, so I'm not going to get an ultra precise measurement on the angle here, but what I'll do is I'm going to eyeball through here and adjust this angle to where it looks to be very much parallel through here all the way across. I suppose one option you could do is maybe take a ruler and measure your depth there. I've got 7/8 of an inch there and 7/8 of an inch there. So, hey, my eyeball's pretty well on, so guess that works. Now what I'll do is go over and take one of my angle gauges and measure what this angle is. Okay, here I've got my angle that I measured, and I've got this angle gauge that gives me different readings of the different angles. What I'll do is slide this up on here, try and get this together, and slide this up till the angles match right up. Okay, so see if I can read this very well, but it's giving me about a 69 degrees, and I'm going to call it 70 degrees just to make it easy. So I'll go with that, 70 degrees, and that's what I'll cut the angles on my boards for doing this. Okay, so a first step that I'm going to do is to cut off myself a clean edge here. I'm just using a piece of 2x4 here, and I'm going to clean it up good and straight and trim off the rounded edges. Being a kind of a shop utility thing here I'm building here, it's not fine woodworking, and it's not the kind of thing, you know, some of our shop jigs we do want precision in them, but this is one of them where it's just kind of a shop accessory. I'm just going to clean this up and clean off the end here, so I've got some clean stuff to work with, and I'm going to get all the edges dressed up and squared up. Now I'm going to measure up the locations for my holes. I'm planning on doing 6 blade tubes in here. If in the future I need more, I'll add more or make a longer one. Okay, so I've got my edges squared up, got rid of the roundovers, and now I'll start measuring out for laying out if I'm going to locate these tubes on here. Now these tubes are 5/8 inch diameter, and this cap is a little bit less than the diameter of the tube itself, so I don't have to take into account anything for this cap because it's just a little bit smaller than the diameter of the tube itself, so that'll be very helpful. Okay, so I've set up my markings here for laying out my points where I'm going to drill the holes at. I'll be drilling the 5/8 holes for the tubes. So what I did is I started out, put a mark here, it's a 1/2 inch in from the edge of the board to give myself a little bit of meat there on the ends. I put my first mark at the 1/2 inch mark, then from there I measured over 5/16 of an inch. Half of 5/8 of an inch is 5/16 of an inch. So that'll mark the center of my hole, and then I drew a circle around it to identify it's going to be my center. Then from that, another 5/16 of an inch gives me the other edge of the hole, and then between that and here I measured a 1/4 inch to space between these holes. Then from this 1/4 inch I measured over another 5/16 of an inch to mark where I'm going to drill this hole, and then from this over 5/16 of an inch to mark the other edge where this hole is going to be. Then from this over another 1/4 inch, and so on until I've got my 6 holes laid out. Then what I'll do is I'll come in and use my scribe to dimple the centers of all these holes that I'm going to drill. That way the spur on my Forstner bit can kind of like lock into that hole and give me kind of a perfect precision on that. So my next step will be to cut this off here, and then I'm going to use what's left over this board here, cut to the same length as this, and then this part's going to stay straight. This part I'm going to cut at an angle on my saw here to give me that slope I need to attach to the side of my scroll saw body. Here at my bandsaw, I'm going to cut the angle that I need on this to mount onto the side of my scroll saw body. So I've got these a board clamped here to be a fence. I've got these big 3-inch spring clamps. Hard to get my hand around just to get them on here. Now I don't have a vertical board here as a guide, but I've got this, cut pretty flat here. So I'm hoping that this will give me the stability I need to get through that. And of course, as I push through, I've got this push stick that I use to protect my fingers as I get it through there. Okay, so I've got all my holes cut through here to a good depth where I can put these tubes in here. It'll hold up pretty good. Now what I need to do is a little bit of work on this piece that I'm going to use to attach this to give me this angle against the side body of my saw. And what I wanted to do is make this easy to take on and off. I want to put some magnets on here so I can just kind of pull this on and off at will. But to get a straight hole to drill for the magnets, what I have to do is take my cutoff piece here, and I can shove that under there, wedge it under. Now I can get a straight cut into this so I can put those magnets in there. Okay, I'm going to use a couple of rare earth magnets on this, which is about a 3/4 inch diameter. So I'll put in a 3/4 inch Forstner bit, get the depth set, then glue these in with an epoxy. Okay, to keep these pieces kind of together, because they're going to slide around on me like that, I got a piece of double stick tape on here I'm going to use to hold these pieces together. And it doesn't have to be a real precise positioning, just so I kind of get the gist of it. So I'm going to set these together here pretty close, press it in place so I've got a good positioning there. Okay, now as far as where I'm going to locate these magnets, that's kind of going to be just about anywhere I want to stick it, I guess. So we'll see how this goes. I have to stop periodically, check my depths, make sure I'm not getting too deep or too shallow. Yeah, that seems pretty good for that one. Okay, that's good. So I'll get these magnets glued in here with some epoxy glue. Well, I had some video card failure, so missed out on some of the steps here and how I put this together. But I took this board and then I took that wedge that I'd cut and put the magnets onto, glued them on there. And the way it was going to fit before, it was going to sit up like this, and then if you have any work that comes across the surface here, you're going to run into the obstruction of these tubes. So it needs to sit down further here. So what I did was to measure or mark the bottom of the side of the saw body here, and then sat my wedge on there that I had cut, and then I cut this a little bit short so that it would be short enough so these magnets would still be here, and I could set it all the way down here, and then I glued these two pieces together, and this way it fits perfectly and if I have any work pieces here, I've got good clearance over those. So, got my tubes here, fit in and out good. I've got 6 of them, so I can keep quite a variety there, and this should work really great. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you got some inspiration. If you did, please give me a like and share it with your family, friends, and fellow craftspersons. Also, please subscribe so you can see what I may come up with next. And be sure to hit the bell icon so you won't miss out on anything. And as I say, if the ladies don't find you handsome, at least they should find you handy. Thank you.